love for the things to be continued in the succeeding workshops are, I feel like this is the first, where it's thinking in the workshop is usually about crafts, I think, and then what's different in this particular one was there was also a focus on politics, and actually more importantly, how the politics also affects the craft, because often when there's problematic in politics, the craft is also considered, and I think that I loved seeing how that was brought up in this particular workshop, because oftentimes I don't hear much about that, and that's a refreshing thing, I think. I like the atmosphere also created, because it's such a safe space, I guess, to have so many different opinions and to talk about sensitive topics like this. And I'd like to see that continue. If I had a suggestion, maybe if the consultation thing was going to be made like a canon sort of thing, perhaps it seemed more constructive to put it after
Your session.
yes. Because I would, parang if somebody, if the comments, because some of the comments are general and give you general insight, but that it would be so amazing if you could like sit down with the expert of that particular language or that topic and then go through line by lines or something like that. The only problem I had with the Hadal was nakalas yung knob sa aircon. Ayun. Tapos, basta, there's an entire thing. Pero okay na siya. Okay.
What entire thing?
Basta, sa first it broke. Parang it was kind of breaking, so I was trying to be careful. And then wala nang chance talaga. It totally broke. And then, so I was trying to like salvage it by being creative in the placement. And then finally, parang, when it totally broke, like I couldn't control the aircon anymore, so I had to call the people really did. But it's fine. It's all good. It's all good.
Actually, pareho rin kay Nico na parang nag-create ng safe space yung workshop na to discuss topics that are not usually discussed in an open space, like if merong mga straight people. And what I like about this workshop is that the fellows get to comment also, kasi parang sa previous workshops na na-attendan ko, it's only the panelists and very limited lang yung time na ina-allot for the comment. And I think for this workshop, everyone gets to speak and we hear different opinions from different people. And siguro, maybe it's just me, but 1.5 hours is sometimes not enough to discuss like the entire work. Kasi siguro may mga points pa na hindi na bring up kasi merong time constraint, ganun. So, pero overall, it's nice being surrounded by queer people kasi I don't get to queer and open people kasi I don't get that kind of vibe in typically at home. So, ayun. Thank you.
I think we can all agree that this workshop provided a safe and fun space to talk about anything LGBTQ. And I like it because I was able to disclose everything, almost everything, without being judged and ridiculed. That I kind of miss those
Without being
jobs.
asked.
Yeah, without being asked.
You just disclosed on your own.
Yeah, because I like that. It's my hobby actually. And parang nakakamiss yung mga nagtotoo sa internet. Baka lang kasi, kahit hindi naman yun yung topic. Parang iba yung politics ang topic ko, biglang sige, baka lang kasi. Also, yeah, just like what Matthew said, parang I wanted more to yung time na parang sana, at least for my collection na parang mas marami pang nasabi. Suggestion siguro, I think it would be much better if the future workshops would require a theme for the submissions para to make it more queer, I guess, and as well yung mas marami yung women or yung hindi lang agi hindi lang agi you know what I mean, parang kasi parang si Mariel lang yung ano dito, gender fluid. Or, ano ba? How do you identify yourself? I'm sorry. Anyway, may lesbian yan, sana meron din. And what else did I write? I said here, well, personal to consider a more positive approach in writing about LGBTQ, or at least seek ways to explore other themes or experiences that make LGBTQ LGBTQ. That's it.
Hello, good afternoon. Before I begin, I'm sort of inviting everyone to, if you can, visit Bicol sometime before December. We're launching Bicol Bakla. It's an anthology of Bicol Bading writers, and it's about 15 writers. So it's still in the works. So yun lang. In the plug. Kung kayo sa Bicol, ang daming hada.
Sa inyo ba tayo?
Yeah. So here,
Dali mo kami sa plaza.
yes. So I want to make sure na dapat 15 kayo na pupunta doon. One for each,
Sa
So,
Dome.
ayan.
Dali mo kami sa Dome, sa plaza.
Christian Cordero will assist us. Okay, so just a few comments. I think this is perhaps the bravest workshop so far I've seen that has come out of UP. One of the bravest workshop because it's the first, and it talks about LGBTQ, and I think being LGBTQ in this decade, it's super hip. I think it's hip, it's fresh, it's fun. So just a few comments or a few suggestions. Parang ganon. It's so now there. It feels great to be bading at this age, at this century, at this itong century na
Fashion forward.
Oo, nakatuwa. So I think Miss Chinatown has also mentioned the importance of themes, setting themes, which I hope that in the next workshops we sort of clarify what the themes are, and it would be nice if, let's say, certain fellows are selected because they fall into certain themes. For example, itong theme na to, it's the coming out, and then another is the politics, and then another on feminine, acts and everything. And then I think I mentioned this case Sir Neil last night, the assortment of writers and fellows. I was expecting it to be more sari-sari store. I was expecting for it to have more estrogen, less testosterone. I mean, siguro good mix. I'm thinking siguro we have PWD writers as well. Writers from Mindanao, for example. I think they have a lot of material for Muslim, for example. Yung mga ganung So I think more assortment ng writers and topics. Because I was looking for a really strong collection of poetry on AIDS. So because it's timely and relevant, as Pia said, diba? So yun. Another is I was hoping that there was a consideration for a straight man or a heteros to also attend the workshop as a sort of a dialogue, a portion for dialogue between us and the heterosexuals. And others are just, and note lang ako, I hope there was an off workshop activity, that parang assignment. Kasi may mga downtime kami na 1 hour, baklaan, grinder, kaya nakapag-grinder kami at times. May mga downtime. Let's say after...
Ayaw nyo ng downtime, gusto nyo laging may ginagawa.
Siguro after 5 p.m. Diba? Mga ganun, diba? Parang like an assignment, an activity. I think the writing prompt is a good example. Sobrang nakakatuwa yung writing prompt. So, at least, diba, may less time for grinder. And I was hoping one of the siguro central activity was an off-campus activity right in the middle of the workshop, wherein we would actually go out and, let's say, one group would go to a certain drag show, and then may synthesis afterwards dito sa pagbalik sa workshop. one would go to Divisoria and one would, let's say, cruise safely, mga ganun. Things like those. Mga ganun, and sponsored by the
Parang LGBTQ,
Camp.
LGBTQ tour ang gusto nyo.
Tour.
Ang hirap naman.
Especially for the people who's from the regions, gusto nila makatikim ng sample ng ano. No, kidding. Ano lang, just something to do.
Oh, there is tonight.
Yeah, it's fine. And then we'll synthesize tomorrow.
Yeah.
Kung sino yung mga nawala bigla.
Nakabalik sa hotel.
Exactly. So last na, I was hoping sana na during the readings, especially for example, kunwari si Miss Chinatown is reading a couple of pieces, I was hoping that there was at least a visual aid that's being projected on the screen. Like the poem itself is
Yung
being...
picture ng tinutulaan niya.
Yeah, for example, let's say if it's Chinatown, like a photo of Binondo or something. So, just an added...
Puro lalaki yung tinulaan niya.
Yeah.
Picture ng guys.
Yeah, something like that. Just for vision, ano lang. Parang, kasi di ba mga bakla, we're very visual eh. We like descriptions and animation and images. And poetry is, of course, a play on images. So, it would have been really nice kung may production numbers sa ano. Yun lang. Thank you. But everything else, ganda. Ganda.
Magandang hapon. Maganda rin yung palingan na nangyari kasi maraming diskurso at naririnig mo rin puro-puro ng ibang mga tao. Maganda sana na pagka kinabukasan, merong lagom.
Nagawa lang yung
Lagom or parang summary nung kung ano yung session. Tapos, oh my God. Nung first day, nung unang araw lang. Oo. Tapos,
May mga nagdo-document. Extra nyo yun.
Lagom.
Summary.
Ay, naglagom naman tayo, di ba yung first
First,
day?
nakalimutan ko kanina.
Oo. Ganda.
Ngayon, maglagom na yun.
sige, yun lang muna. Kalimutan ko.
Okay, let's bakit tayo may
Sige,
lagom?
sorry. Yun lang. Wala na. Pagkain, room. Yung waiters. Mga waiters.
Matanda.
Service.
Ay, bata pa.
Yung mga isa lang yata eh.
I'd actually like to start with just a personal story about this workshop. Because as someone who feels pretty young, especially when applying for this, I wasn't actually considering applying at first because I felt that I wouldn't get accepted. So I was just, okay, let's do it a few years from now. But then I tried, and I'm here now, along with these other fantastic fellows who I built such a beautiful bond with over a few days. And the thing is, coming from from that idea, there's always been that kind of fear of this kind of workshop, in the sense that it's a first for me, and I don't know what to expect. But in a way, getting here, it's become such a safe space for dialogue, not just in terms of the politics of one's identity, of coming to terms with why we write, for who we write, but at the same time, it's also become a space for us to understand our own kind of poetics. And I really hope that the way that we workshop, no one throwing paper everywhere, no one tearing it in front of you. I really hope that this kind of dialogue, people are laughing, people are enjoying, people are looking at the things they enjoy and telling you how it could help you come to terms with how you write. I really hope that that continues. And I think that's also a result of the fact that this is an LGBTQ workshop. We're already a minority space. So we also have to negotiate with that. I'm kind of on the board with the idea of having a specific theme for the submissions, because I also understand why the multiplicity of ways by which a queer poetics can be experienced. But I can also see why a theme might benefit. And I can also understand why there wasn't like we didn't want to have a quota for this number of lesbians, this number of gays, this number of bis, because pwede naman over the next couple of workshops you can just have it no quota, but maybe it will normalize by itself, because it's also, you also have to think about, okay, you think of this number of people to represent this, that, but at the end of the day, what about the craft? And I kind of understand why people just did it purely based on a blind test. Again, that's just food for thought. I kind of expected a few more external activities. I thought that would have been more fun off campus, maybe some way to have some prompts outside, more experience. I absolutely loved it here. I learned so much. And the most beautiful thing I think that I'm leaving this year with is the relationships with the people around us and the kind of dialogue we made with ourselves vis-a-vis that relationship. And for that, I'm really thankful.
I'm not sure what to say because I'm very much satisfied by my experience in this workshop. I had no clear expectations when I got here, and when I was asked to state my expectations on first day, I really didn't know what to say, but I just know that I will see a different light in every piece of poetry that I come across with, especially mine. And they were met, and then the following days they were exceeded at great lengths, and I am very grateful for that. With regards to the venue, the service, the food, it was all good for me. Especially sa desserts. I was stealing like 3 or 4 times of the desserts, more than other people were having it. That's a confession. Yeah, that's my guilty pleasure. Pero I was very satisfied sa nangyari dito sa workshop na to. And maybe maybe the thing with with having a thematic focus workshops isn't really quite a necessary thing for me. Siguro, ano lang, pwedeng maging center lang siguro finding a way to queer the things na parang dominated ng heteronormative voices. Yun lang.
May nangyari na ba? Kidding aside, as the eldest in the group,
May eksena ka na naman, Margaret.
Ha?
May eksena ka na.
Hindi, natanong lang ako.
May alam siya.
Ang paglalakbay ay palaging may kaakibat na mga tula, mga metaporang nasa daan, napupulot. And I was not actually expecting, kasi kakakali ko nga lang din talaga dito noong February for the translators seminar workshop. And actually, it was a technique that I've learned from that workshop na ginamit ko dun sa pagka-translate ng sarili kong mga sinulat. And yun, it was more than what I have expected dun sa mga matututunan ko. And hindi lang naman kasi dun sa ginawa namin personally, kami natututo, or ako personally, kundi pati dun sa mga comments ng mga panelists or ng kapwa fellows, dun sa mga ginawa din nila. So we did not only learn from our own craft, but pati dun sa ginawa ng iba. And I think napakalaking bagay, lalo na sa mga poetics namin, na madadala namin pag-uwi para ituloy yung mga project. Doon sa mga batang writers na kakaya ko, charot na, I would suggest na ituloy lang din yung project. Ituloy ang pagsusulat. Kasi hindi natatapos sa katapusan ng workshop ang pagsusulat. It must, and I think, bahagi na ng ano natin ang pagsusulat. Bahagi na. Kumbaga, itong workshop na to is just like baptism or pag epiphany or pagbibinyag pa lang sa atin. So ngayon, na part na tayo or napag-usapan ang mga dapat pag-usapan sa loob at sa labas ng society or ng politika, magsusulat pa rin tayo at magsusulat. Dahil araw-araw marami tayong pinapagdadaan. Thank you.
Before anything else, just want to address a bit of what Pao said about diversity. Because as much as we'd like to have I guess, the wackiest people, the wackiest bunch in one room. I wouldn't want to get in because I'm a queer person with disability from Muslim Mindanao. I'd want to get in because they thought my work deserved to be here. So I guess, if anything, the most I can suggest about the application process is, I don't know, if there's a way to figure out if these people are actually queer, kasi baka some straight person might apply, get in, and then, yung parang the conspiracy theory that what if all of us are actually straight? And we will come out tonight during the graduation, parang, surprise, we're straight. Pero I don't know if there's a way.
A lawyer's affidavit?
There was a way na hindi
A video!
Yeah, YouTube video.
YouTube video
Performance.
that I'm
Somehow
mistakenly
they
demonstrates.
an audition tape, parang to recall.
May China endorsement.
So, do you think that's a real danger that the image of being a part of this workshop becomes so cool that
I don't know, I mean, we did set the bar pretty high, so I don't know. But
mga
yeah,
posters, no?
baka may poster na parang
Post.
The original.
yung mga hungry lang for workshops, pati ito sinalihan kahit macho.
I think the way to go about that is probably maybe get 3 people to attest that you are indeed that. So just sign document that.
Oh my God.
Pwede, I guess.
Sa cover letter.
Character reference.
Sa background check. Do you understand the great difficulty of that?
Yes.
We already considered that this time around. We were thinking of that, what if we have posters, right? But I was just thinking, who would want to risk being identified publicly as LGBTQ? Because it was a public announcement, right? And if you applied, you were willing to be part of the workshop, then we would release your names as the successful applicants, right? Who would want to risk that if you were straight? Now you're actually saying it is going to happen?
I feel like it can. I mean, it's within the realm of possibilities. I mean, for baka kung may street people out there, or
So let's just say that we will take them on their word. We'll just assume good faith. Now if they are just posing, then it's on their conscience. And they will be found out during the workshop.
yeah. Kung hindi nila alam pag sinabi ni Shantae, tapos ha? Ano yan? Straight. So ayun.
But, okay, all of your suggestions regarding more diversity, this funny point you're raising raises the great difficulty of implementing that. You understand? That we went by merit, literary merit, because that was, on the one hand, it struck us as the fairest way to do it. Also, it's the most doable. Right? We just basically got rid of all your names and then gave them to the experts to judge without any idea who you were.
Yeah.
You revealed your identity through your work anyway, but then that's not necessarily going to be accurate either, because you can just assume a confessional tone and actually not be that, right? But yeah, that's a problem. How do we'll find a way.
The diversity thing, I don't know how to go over that. But then, for the workshop aspect naman kasi, this is my first, so I have nothing to compare it to. But then, like, based on conversations I've had with friends who've been to workshops, a lot of them have told me that it might be blind, it might be per suite or per piece, or iba-iba daw yung sistema. I'm glad that we stuck with the system because I feel like there is a flaw in the belief that the artist is dead when judging a piece of art purely based on its value detached from its creator. Napag-usapan namin ito ni Nico na parang about how art does not exist in a vacuum and how you need to investigate the perspectives that they stemmed from. So parang, especially for for our National Writers Workshop that champions a vast gender identity, I feel like this is very important. I felt like I know myself better in the workshop. Like I am more also as the only person here I think who isn't out his family, I feel more courageous to open up about who I am to people I love. So And that's something I don't think I would have earned without the workshop. So, thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon po. I'll start with all of the things that I appreciate. First, I appreciate the photos that were uploaded in Facebook. It was really nice. And everyone started showing off their profile photos. And I saw that I also had really nice photos. I'm happy. Yes. Hindi ako photogenic. But anyways, I also appreciate the communications as well as dun sa press, in the press release. I like the fact that there was no divulgence of what are the sojis of the fellows or the panelists. Like there was no tuting na parang, oh, we have a gay panelist and then we have a bisexual panelist, and ganyan. Yung parang everyone's, there was a very, I appreciate that, that everything was in confidence, especially pala na for those who are still in the closet. I love the food and I love the accommodations kahit may ipis sa kwarto namin dalawa.
And the water turns off occasion.
Oo. So, basta okay naman siya. Pinatay, ako pumatay. Ako pumatay na ipis sa kwarto namin. So, I appreciated that. And I love the view of every morning. It's just gorgeous. Yung greens dito sa UP. So, it was really nice. I guess I'll just go back with the expectations that I've set for the workshop during the first instance, which is, the first was that I hope that everyone would read, and it was very obvious that everyone did. It was really nice, because the reading didn't only happen, or the analysis or the discussion didn't only happen here, but in a lot of those moments wherein we're not here, everyone was just talking about the works, not just the fellows, but even the panelists, that we can overhear sometimes, like for example, I can hear someone talking about my works, lumalapit na lang ako closely, or in discussing other fellows' work. So it was really wonderful that it isn't confined here, or we don't have that feeling that we're only reading out of duty or obligation, but a true appreciation of the literary work itself. And another thing that I appreciated was that, strikingly, all of the insights and inspirations that I gained from the workshop was very, very varied. Parang there was no parang particular redundancy na parang, for example, yung fellow na, pareho lang to kasi dun sa kanya na ganyan. Tapos iulit lang yung everything that was perhaps should be corrected. And I think it is owed to the fact that the works are in and of itself very diverse sa isa't isa. And I love it because it's not only in the soji, in the poets, but also in the write-ups themselves. So I think it was a beautiful, perhaps serendipitous moment that the strongest pieces that were selected were very different from one another. So I think I could see na the screening process was in that way very just and very expansive. Kasi sometimes I would notice that the work selected magkakapareho. Kasi I think yun yung trip nung nag-select. Diba? Pero may ganun siyang tendency. Another part of the expectations that I cited earlier was sensitivity. And I love the very empathic way that people were giving criticisms. So, because I have encountered a lot of workshops who parang, although parang I understand naman tough love, but I really like the idea that even when you're, for example, providing constructive criticism, everyone was encouraging in the end. Like, they provide possible ways on how to change it, how to ganyan. I have encountered na kasi personally wherein, especially diba yung works ko, and the main concern is very inaccessible, ganyan. And the thing is kasi, they stop there. Like, more than 4 panels have already told me na parang, this is inaccessible, you should think about the reader, and then that's it. Less than 10 seconds lang yung comment sa akin. So, napasakit siya, and then in the end, like, it makes you question, parang, okay, should I completely revamp? Yung ganun. So, it makes you, it's actually very disheartening at the end. And this is not just me, but a lot of writers I know in Mindanao as well, who have underwent siguro medyo lacking in sensitivity kind of workshops. They stopped writing after workshops talaga. Like, more than 5 years. I know someone for 10 years hindi talaga siya nag-workshop because ganun daw yung nangyari sa kanya. Like, after 10 minutes, tapos na daw yung part niya kahit yung allotted was 1 hour. Kasi like, walang ano daw. So parang, I really love the idea that everyone was saying something. And more importantly, the fellows was the one who began the conversation. So I think that's very nice because it's very different from the other workshops that I've been to then, wherein yung panelists yung una nagsasalita, tapos ma-exhaust na lahat. So the only thing that the fellows can say is like, ang ganda! Tapos na, yung gano'n. Kasi, nauna na yung mga other talks. I would also like, echo ko na lang din siguro yung sentiment na perhaps we don't even have to go off-campus activity. I think a cultural immersion or integration program would be really lovely. Perhaps, although I'm not sure how to go about it here in Metro Manila or here in UP, pero parang I appreciated the talk, the lecture by Sir. But perhaps other more engaging activities, workshops, I don't know, perhaps even an empowering like Soji 101, because we cannot expect that everyone here really knows the politics behind Soji, and I've met a lot of writers who are LGBT but don't know Soji or don't know what's happening here in the Philippines and ganyan. So as for, I think meron akong comment. Yan. I guess sana Mindanawan na panelists, ganyan. I think there are a lot of LGBT writers, and for those looking for a Bangsamoro or Muslim writer, there are a lot of them there in Mindanao. Tapos, I guess yun lang po. So, maraming salamat. This is one of the best experiences with really great people that I've had a lot of fun with. So, ang cute-cute kasi no first day, hindi talaga makapagsalita. Wala. Tahimik lang talaga. Tapos, slowly, biglang, nare-reveal na yung mga personalities na, ayan, may mga inner jokes na sila, na tatawanan, So, thank you for that. And even though, even though I'm surrounded by a lot of parang mga from another part of the spectrum, I appreciated how they are still very welcoming. Kasi, di ba, within our own communities, we have the tendency to be very exclusive. Ng ganan. So, thank you so much, and yeah.
Kung pwede ka na, kasi panelist naman, kasalita ko. Thanks ko bilangan ulit. Maganda rin, sige.
Pag-is lang naman, Erpan. Ano nga ba? Natuwa ko kasi medyo may edad na ako, tapos yung mga bata, pagkabasa namin ng mga teksto ng pamimili, nagulat kami kasi panibagong daigdig yung na-discussion namin. So, actually kami ang natuto sa inyo, and I'm very happy na na-meet ko kayo at ang inyong mga teksto. And parang na-energize ako, parang gusto kong sumulat na ng anthology na puro gay points. Kasi yung mga sinusulat ko parang medyo tagumpay ngayon eh. Lalabas na. Dalawang pagdalat-dalat yun yan. Pero, yeah, okay. Yung suggestions na lalabas, medyo parang mahirapan ba? Gusto makamit ng mga parlorista, ganyan, ano ba specific? Parang community siguro ng mga bading, ano ba yung ako? Parang iniisip ko...
Golden Games.
Ganyan. Ganun ba ang gusto? Pero medyo mahirap para sa amin yun. Pero sisikapin namin yung umisip na activity for the next workshop. Overall, congratulations sa inyong lahat for participating.
This was my dream like 2 decades ago, a workshop like this, and it came true. And it exceeded my own expectations. I didn't think it would be so fun. I saw the pictures posted. Meron akong picture na parang lalabas na yung aking laman loob sa kakatawa. So we've been laughing. I don't know if you realize that. Which happens in a normal workshop, but only when a gay manuscript is being discussed. Ito, puro ganon. Kaya talaga non-stop laughter, di ba? I think that the request for immersion, this is the immersion. I don't know if you realize, this is a really unique community. You can't find it anywhere else. This is the first time you have a density of LGBTQ talent, all working in the same genre, meeting for several days and talking about nothing but poetry. this is for me the best immersion I've ever had, as far as LGBTQ culture is concerned. Also, thank you for all your suggestions. We will consider all of them, particularly the one on diversity. As I told you, we went for merit and just allowed the pieces to fall there where they would fall. They did fall along on a diverse enough terrain, because while we didn't represent the full spectrum of LGBTQ per se, we have a regional spectrum, we have a linguistic spectrum, we have class spectrum, I would say, and we have the spectrum of individual idiosyncrasies. You are yourselves diverse in yourselves, right? And I do hope you got to reveal that to each other, and to yourselves as well. The place is UP because we want to make things easier for ourselves. We're all teaching here. Some of us have to work actually, so now and then nawawala si Joey, may mentoring. Ako have to go to the UP Press to sign papers. If we didn't have that, then we might have to change the time. Meaning find a time when we can actually, not during teaching time, find a different schedule for it. No? That's possible to do. More prompts, that's doable. Yeah, we only gave you one prompt actually, but making you do more prompts, you might actually hate us naman. Di ba dito mabibwisit kasi parang puro assignment, parang pinagtrabaho pa kami. Diba? We'll think about maybe other fun prompts, hindi lang writing, pwedeng performance prompt or whatever. Okay? Themes, it would be hard because gusto namin to find out what different themes are. You don't realize it. The diversity we experience here is not just the diversity of being different people. The foremost lesson for me is that LGBTQ cannot be essentialized. We are legion inside this description called LGBTQ. And then the proof of that would be the things we're talking about and writing about. The own experiences that you drew from, they're very different one from the other. And they all meet, I think, because of our intention for them to meet. No? And to find the common ground, which I think would be probably the realization of inequality and the aspiration towards equality, which is really the theme, the bigger theme for Global Grace. Okay? And we will have the off-site activity later. Make the most of it. It's O-Bar. It is, I would say it's a queer bar because I took so many different sort of orientations there, no? But you will have go-go boys and trans performers. Also, there's a leaning towards the G and the T, right? But everyone, you cannot assume anything. You might be talking to a girl who's actually lesbian. You can't. It's just a safe space, as safe as this one. So enjoy yourselves later. You get in free entrance, right? Which is consumable yata, $500, probably 3 drinks or 4 drinks. And if you want to keep drinking, that's on you, right? Hopefully, Francis, is a stipend here? What did Mike say?
It's still being processed.
By tomorrow. These guys are going to leave without their stipend. It's UP, I have to apologize. This is UP inefficiency. I myself have not been appointed for this position of coordinator, and the paper's been with them for almost 2 months. Can you imagine? And I asked kahapon, it's just not been signed now. It's been, things that end up on the Chancellor's desk stay there for a lot of time. Oh my God, the Vice Chancellor is here. This is Fidel Dimenzo, no? So, the stipend has not arrived, Fidel. And it's our last workshop day. But all the suggestions, we will take them to heart. And this is certainly a dream come true for us. And I hope for you as well. Hopefully we can duplicate this and bring it, whatever you learn here, bring it and echo it to your own communities when you go back to your own locations. So thank you.
Kaninang madaling araw ko lang habang sinusulat ko yung tungkol kay Merla, kung natanggap na totoo itong nangyayari ngayon, yung National LGBTQ Writers Workshop. No? Kasi noon I was dealing with a funeral point. Kasi parang nakikita kong sarili ko kay Maki, no? Except that di ko kayang pahabain yung buhok ko. Kasi nagsimula ako magsulat, ganyan, no? Yan yung kinalay din. And I remember, a long time ago, nagsulat ako kay Neil Garcia, no? May correspondence kaming dalawa. Kasi wala akong mentor doon, no? So, wala akong ibang tatulungan, no? And ngayon, na-realize ko, hindi ako nagkamali sa pagtahak na landas ng gay writing. So, kasi minsan dami kong doubts as a writer. Kasi parang, pakiramdam mo kasi pag sumali ka sa palangga, kahit magandang story mo, gagawin lang ng third prize kasi kabadingan siya. May ganyan akong feeling. No? Pag kahit sa National Book Award, walang laban yung mga libro ng kabaklaan. No? May ganyan akong feeling. Hindi ko alam kung baka bitter lang din ako. No? Pero, ano talaga siya. No? So, inisip ko kasi, mag-45 na ako ngayong taon, kung hindi ba ako naging gay writer at writer lang, baka mas marami akong award. No? Pero kung 45 ka na, anin mo pa yung award? No? I mean, hindi na yung mahalaga para sa'yo. No? Yung award ay exciting lang siya kung you're in your early 20s. No? Pero ngayon, hindi na kailangan. At yung workshop na ito, yung affirmation na tama ako, no? Hindi ako nagkamali, no? At magsusulat pa ako. No? At na-inspire ako ng workshop kasi yung mga batang bading pa na ngayon, nahilig sa mga sequence, sa poetry, din pa hindi ko nagagawa. No? So, yung project ko, nasimulan ko mamayang gabi, kaya hindi ako sasama sa O-Bar. Magsusulat ako. Gagawa ako ng libro ng tula, na sequence. No? So, yun.
Unahan tayo.
Oo, sige. Tapos, yung gustong-gusto ko yung campus ng UP Diliman. No? So, sana huwag ilipat sa Baguio kung saan-saan yung workshop. Sana dito lang siya palagi. No? Kaya, kahit hindi ako invited as panelist, malapit lang puntahan. No? Yung ganyan, no? Hindi kailangan. Kasi maganda yung perfect. At saka gusto ko yung LED. Tama-tama lang siya. Yung ibang workshop kasi like, illegal iyas, napapagod ako. Kasi parang Sunday, pero nag-umpisa ka na. Ito Monday, parang okay ka lang, no? Oo. So, Monday nag-umpisa, tapos yung bukas tapos na tayo. So, hindi ako napagod, no? Nag-enjoy ako ng gusto, no? Marami akong natutunan.
When I was invited to panel in this workshop, I was totally ecstatic. Well, I'm saying this right now, but this is not being tweeted, right?
No, I stopped tweeting.
Okay. I was totally ecstatic, and months ago, if you saw what we were like in my university, students, everybody, ganyan, it was such thriving. I'm using the word was, diba? Because I don't know what's going to be when I get back in. But yun nga, the mixed feelings are, wow, I'm so ecstatic and so grateful to be here among us. And as a panelist, I want to echo what Sir Joey was saying na mas marami akong natutunan sa inyo. Observing and looking at your poetry and where we all are now. It is such a brave space, and it is wonderful to be exposed to people coming from a different generation. We went from the closet out, and it took a very, very long time for most of us to do just that. And you guys have started younger than us, and you are in a different world. What do I appreciate about the workshop? I think I appreciate that it's genre-based, that in most workshops you have several fellows with short stories and several fellows with poetry, and the panelists or the fellows can only say something in 5 minutes, or then you have only a few quotable quotes that you can actually learn about or ruminate about. And here I feel like we have exhausted many things, and we are leaving with many beautiful, exciting questions and more things to negotiate, and many affirmations as well. That's wonderful. I think the time is also okay, but of course we always want more time, right? We always want more time. Uh, uh, what else? Sitting with the fellows, knowing you has been really wonderful. What else? We're coming back to our well, ako. Babalik ako sa het world talaga, as in full-blown, sitting there, ganyan. Pero sitting here, I think it's the bravest that I've ever gotten. I didn't back out, diba? And I will never back out from anything like this. And this is the most out I've been. And I really thank you all for the opportunity to be here.
Gusto kong simulan yung aking sabihin sa isang linya ng tula ni Ralph Garan na mula naman sa isang makata, Rebecca Anguero, na sinabi niya na mabuti lang sa panahon ito, ako pinanganak na bading. Gusto kong sabihin sa inyo na napakaswerte ninyo. Hindi perfecto ang lipunan natin, hindi perfecto ang mundo, pero kumpara sa panahon namin, napakaswerte ninyo. Na kaya nyo itangulod ng libro, ng libre, kami, bibilhin pa, ipapasilos pa. Noong panahon namin, yung mga guru namin ng literatura, takot sa bakla, galit sa bakla, kasabihan ka na, hindi lang ang problema mo, ganyan ang panulat mo, na yan lang ang alam mo. Ngayon, pasensya na po sa sinabi ko. Ngayon, mas malaya na tayong sabihin, yung mga gusto natin sabihin. Mas malaya tayong ipahayag ang ating mga gustong sabihin sa iba't ibang mga anyo, mga iba't ibang paraan. Natutuwa ako sa parihang ito dahil ang dami kong nakilala na nakikita ko lang dati sa mga libro, sa bookstore, sa Facebook, Ngayon ko na naging kakilala, si Marisa, na sana dati pa, para makapagkapi tayo. Sige, mamaya. Next Friday. Sayang, ba't ngayon lang? Tagal na natin nagkakasalubong. Tutuwa ako dahil nakilala ko pang lalo ang mga kasama ko sa ICW, si Sir Neil, si Sir Joey, At nakilala ko yung mga dati ng kaibigan na nasasama ko sa mga antolohiya ng mga libro, nakasama ko, nagtatagpo sa mga libro, At ito rin yung pagkakataon na nakakalikha tayo ng mga kolaborasyon, Kanina habang nag-usap kami ni Jan, may naisip na kami mga proyekto, na pwedeng simulan, hindi lang ito pagbubuo, paglilinis ng mga kurador o ng mga first draft. Sa palagay ko, ito rin ay isang pagsisimula, isang yapak ito para tayo ay mas maging matapang pa, mas maging panghas pa, hindi lamang sa pagpapataas ng ating kagalingan sa pagsulat, kung hindi sa ating paninindigan, na huwag tayong matakot, huwag tayong papadala sa mga hamon ng ating lipunan, ng ating kapaligiran. Ang dami pa, Kung sinabi ko kanina na mabuti na lang sa panahon ito tayo pinanganak na bading, sabi ko, mga tibo, mga sexual, marami pa tayong kaharapin. At sa ating pagkakakilala ngayon, natutuwa ako na kaya natin itong harapin ng sama-sama tayo magkakaibigan. Maganda nga.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sa totoo lang, sangsukan ako sa workshops. Sangsukan ako, kasi it's a paradox, nakakasuka, kasi it's what we do, we're part training centers, may workshop to dance, pero tatuwa din naman ako. Like for instance, nung last Saturday, nagkaroon kami workshop for children. And kasama doon yung mga sinama ko yung mga anak ng mga janitor, maintenance, kasi gusto ko lahat ng tao sila sa, hindi lang faculty or staff, secretary, lahat may opportunity to learn. Ngayon pumunta ako dito, so wala pang expect masyado, pero natuwa ako with the discovery of so much talent. Actually, before I came here, nabasa ko yung mga material naloka ako. Sabi ko, nakakapwisit. Ang dami kong gustong kurutin, okay? Pagwasin, okay? Kasi ang galing-galing. Diba? Ang ganda-ganda. Imagine mo kung ano mangyayari sa kanila in the future. There's so much no, talent here. Parang talagang as teachers, di ba, don't we want to be rendered obsolete? Di ba? Parang, yun yung gusto ko, parang okay na kami, kasi ang dami-dami, the future is here, no? Yeah, secure na. Okay? Tsaka gusto ko i-reiterate, no, nothing lasts. Yeah, you know, more often than not, yes, nothing lasts. Yeah, you know, some things do, at least for a lifetime. And what are these things? Art. And your commitment to your politics. Diba? No? Think of the millions of objects, you know, whose hearts are broken, bodies bruised, psyche damaged, okay? And they have no one to turn to. But we, artists, have a recourse. Diba? Should your beloved abandon you, you have one constant companion in art. That's art. And so I hope that you will continue writing, and that you will share, you know, so thank you for sharing your poetry and your vision with us. Diba? Because sa totoo lang, ako sa tama si Eugene said that, kami, or si Joey, ako natuto ako. No? Not only because of what's up there, but because, you know, these kids are so bright. Parang makaka-workshop naman sila kahit wala tayo eh. Ano yun? Parang ganon, yung sa totoo lang, no? I mean, konting konting push, pero andun yung napakataas ng level. At tutuwa ako kasi, sa totoo, tama may sabi kanina sa ibang workshops, nakakainis ang format. The panelists begin. Alam niya, pag meron lang, 5 minutes na lang, sige. Okay, may we ask the fellows to speak up, which I think is very wrong. Diba? Bakit mas maganda natin start tayo sa mga fellows? Yun ang pinakagusto ko dito, no? Parang hindi siya, there's enough space, enough room for the discussion for the ideas, and we begin with the fellows. No? At dahil ako yung director ng Bienvenido in Santos Creative Writing Center, okay, not that I want it, no? I would like to invite, you know, everyone, all the fellows, no, to apply to next year's IAS. At hindi lang sa IAS, syempre, no? Kahit sa UST, sa baba meron, sa Ateneo, Iligan. Siguro maganda yun na ma-explore nyo lahat, no? Si Rap Galang, bata pa kami, proud na proud siya. Dahil lahat doon ng workshop sa puntahan niya. No? At nakakatuwa naman din yun, di ba? Maganda kasi marami kang natutunan sa mga workshops eh. So sana apply kayo to learn more, you know, the craft of poetry or any other genre that you wish to pursue. I hope ko that you will continue writing, you know, and you will continue, you know, working towards making this world, or universe rather, more inhabitable for all the objects, for anyone who has ever been othered. Thank you very much.
So we have our photo session.
Wait, announcement lang. We have, I will email you guys about, I think I did mention to some of the fellows na the talent, as I said, exceeded my expectations because the density of talent is really wonderful. You don't get this much talent in a normal workshop. You would have weak fellows, talagang weak, wala ka masabi. Dito wala, everyone was just wonderful. So, you are the creme de la creme, as I said in the beginning. My heart breaks at the thought of those whom we had to cut. You understand that we only selected you? We would have had at least 25 to 30 really very good fellows. So I'm going to invite all of you to submit to an anthology of LGBTQ poetry, which I'm going to call Busilak, meaning pure. But the pun on the bulak and bulaklak and whatever. But it's, yes, I think that is one of the greatest sort of results of this, is that we have enough for a wonderful book. Right? And so, we revise the pieces. that you have here or new ones that you would like, and then we will work on it, right? Email via email. Also, email to Francis your prompt. Remember, one of the things you sign is that things that come out of the workshop that you produce here, that's one of them, and then it might be useful for the prospective Museum of Equalities, and what we will exhibit there would be the Philippine production, right? So we will, the things you've submitted here that got workshop, please revise them, and we will still keep in touch with you via email for the deadline for the submission of the revisions, so that we can submit them to the archive for that global project. Okay, and now I think we go outside for a photo shoot.
Okay, the best part of it.
Mag-announce pa.
Kindly submit your evaluation forms. And then, yung fellows, punta na agad sa labas. Kasi mawala daw yung ilaw. Yung araw. Tapos, for the photos, kung gusto niyo magkaroon ng personal copy, you can bring yung flash drive, and then you can get the copy from Benji. Later, after the photos.
And then yung tomorrow, yung event, bukas na lang.
Fellows, labas na po tayo para
230 dapat.
ilaw pa.
230. Thank you. Amazing. Work ka na talaga. Ganyan talaga. Para tumaas ang market value.